We're back! Okay, so I have been away for a little over a year now, but not to delve too much into, reasons, personal stuff, whatever. I am back. I am going to be doing these videos at least once a week along with the reviews. There are going to be a couple changes to the channel. As of right now, I am not going to be doing any video game reviews, mostly because it is that time of year when everything seems to be coming out at the exact same time. And as much as I like to pretend that I have a lot of people working with me, it is literally just me. I'm the only one working on any of these things, and my time is divvied up into a lot more stuff right now. So I will still be doing reviews. I will still be doing Aaron's Brownies, and at some point I will bring back the brownie mix with Luis Rivera and Jose Pena and occasionally Eric Jackson. But if you do want to hear some of my thoughts on video games or what I'm playing at this time, be sure to tune into our weekly podcast, Geek You Kindly. You can download it on Podbean. We're hoping to get onto iTunes eventually, but as of right now, it's just Podbean. Anyway, for this very first Aaron's Brownies, after coming back, I wanted to talk about the current biggest game, which, given what comes out next week, is no longer going to be the biggest game of the year, and that is Destiny right now. Destiny came out a little over a month and a half ago, September 9th, and it, needless to say, did not live up to expectations. So, why is that? Well, for one, the story is non-existent. I completed the game. I didn't even realize I completed the game. I actually had to scroll down into a little area and figure out that the credits were there all of a sudden. Secondly, they have this entire massive world, and Bungie are fantastic world builders, but what that means is they create fantastic lore and places for you to play in. The story itself doesn't really move anything forward. I had no idea why I was going point A to point B. There's a total of probably 6 cutscenes in the entire game. And then you're playing in this enormous space, and there's really nothing to do. Don't get me wrong, there's still stuff to do, but you're doing the exact same thing over and over and over ad nauseum, which is also the definition of insanity. But one of the greatest features of it is the cooperative play. As of right now, there is nothing else on the system like this. And I'm speaking, of course, about current gen, which means PS4 and Xbox One. There's nothing else like it to play right now. And once you actually get into the game, it's kind of cool where people just drop in, help you. Even when you're doing a random mission in the world and you get overwhelmed and some guy comes out of nowhere and helps you and then just leaves. It's really cool, and you really get that awesome dynamic. I just wish the game was more fun to play. The reason the only reason I can explain that I have been playing it for so long is there is nothing else to play. There hasn't been any real AAA titles, not even any decent titles, in the entire month and a half that the game has been out. Of course, next week that's going to change when Call of Duty Advanced Warfare comes out, and that kind of starts the fall blockbuster, let's call it, of all the video game releases, all the major games that everyone's been holding out for. And that is, I think, why Destiny is still so successful, despite all the negative feedback about it, all the problems it has. I mean, Bungie, disappointingly to fans, released a very broken game. It's out there. I'm saying it. They released a broken game, and a lot of it has been fixed with patches over time, but there's just so many details and stuff that clearly wasn't worked out before the game actually released, and that's incredibly disappointing for people who've been waiting a long, long time for this game, such as myself and a few other of my friends who were really looking forward to this game, and it just did not live up to the expectation. And I'm not the only one that thinks so. I actually went into GameStop this past week and walked in on a conversation the employee and a customer were having about what a disappointment Destiny was. So, I mean, it's not just me, and I'm sure that all the people who are actually playing the game still have that mentality that, there's something wrong with this game, why can't I stop playing it? And that is it's a great time that this game came out because there was nothing else out there to play. And that's just complete luck on Bungie's part, because if they'd have released this game 2 months later, I think it actually would have got lost in the sea of releases, because it had so many issues and because it did not review well and because of all the negative player feedback. But they are going to continue to support the game. They are going to continue to come out with expansions. But unless they come out with some significant changes along with those expansions, once the new games start coming out, I really don't think I'm going to go back to it. I've already completed the game. I'm not doing anything right now other than playing Crucible, which is the PvP, which is major for me because I am not a multiplayer person whatsoever. And if any silver lining came out of this game, it's that might have changed my entire outlook on multiplayer altogether, is that the multiplayer itself is actually pretty well built, even though there is only a handful of maps and modes and some of the player balancing is off. But it will lead me to play other multiplayer-based games such as The Crew and The Division and even the multiplayer in the new Call of Duty game. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. I am happy I played Destiny. I am happy that it kind of changed my perspective on multiplayer gaming. It's just, once November 4th comes around, I will probably never put that game back in my console.